Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
Yep.
I'm your husband, Glenn. Now, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Tonight we're reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode number 6, Saved by the Mariachi Band. Mariachi. That's what it is, I think it is. Mariachi Band. Anyway, the couples are still on their honeymoon. The couples are still on their honeymoon in Mexico. They're wrapping things up. In this episode, we see a lot of couples, counseling, couple dates, a couple gatherings, couple interactions. We see a lot with these couples in this episode. So, where you want to get started?
First, let me start at how you try to say that with an Italian accent, and it's absolutely not that kind of word. It's Spanish.
It's Spanish, I know.
It's not a spicy meatball.
No, it's not.
You said it like it was a spicy meatball.
No, it's mariachi.
Mariachi band.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, it was more group stuff than anything. So we could just let's do Kristen and Mitch.
Yeah.
So really with them, we see them doing another activity. She's at the beach. He's out surfing. She's just letting him do him. Have him a good time at the beach in his element. I'm just here supporting him. That's what she said.
That's what she said. She was just supporting him, in his element. Trying to build a relationship. Trying to get comfortable with her husband. That's what she's trying to do. She wants Mitch, and we hear this in this episode a lot. She's trying to be on Team Mitch. And she wants to make sure Mitch is doing okay to try to reel him in. Mm-hmm. So she's being supportive.
Yeah, the last night of the honeymoon, they just talk about they've had a lot of ups and downs during the honeymoon, but she says, I'm still happier being married than I am single, with everything you've thrown at me. He was like, I'm intense and I've thrown a lot at you, but she's like, he says, but through it all, whatever I throw at you, I just want you to be clear with me, communicate, and hold me accountable. And she was like, I can do that. And you challenge me. I like that. I appreciate that. So just keep doing that. And she says, I asked for somebody that would hold me accountable and challenge me too. She says, but I want somebody that wants me. So that's where I am. So we are getting more physical. Let's kind of keep that going. That's where they are, and
yeah, and they was able to, they get more physical. I think she said the last night they had on their honeymoon that they cuddled more than they had the previous nights, mm-hmm. and that it's starting to feel natural, and that they had to stop themselves mm-hmm. from going all the way in.
'Cause they had a moment.
They had a moment,
but they showed restraint.
I want to talk about the other moment. I know there probably was a couple, but the moment that she was talking about how Mitch, she told the girls basically that Mitch tried to pounce on her.
No, he did pounce.
He pounced on her after he was drinking. As we mentioned earlier, as we mentioned in the last episode or our last review, that liquid courage kicked in, and Mitch started feeling more attracted to her. And Mitch hadn't had any sex in about a year and a half. And he felt like it was the right moment, which I don't understand how he felt like it was the right moment after you just told a girl that you wasn't attracted to her. I'm not attracted to you, but by the way, I want to get some sex from you. And my hat's off to Kristen that she was able to say no, that she didn't give it in. Kristen. I'm still learning her name. Sorry. That she still said no.
I saw the whole wheels turning like, what is her name?
Right. I'm sitting there looking at, hey. Don't laugh at me. We keep it moving.
Oh my gosh. But yeah. And what she said was, from this point on, I decided that I'm going to determine the rules of engagement.
Yeah.
That it's going to be on what I say, because bruh is back and forth.
But she wanted to take control.
You're not attracted to me, but then you jump on me.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be physical, but then I'm being physical. So guess what? Anything that happens is going to be my say, it's going to be my choice, and that's what it's going to be.
But it should be that anyway, though. I mean, she shouldn't have relinquished that power or given him that.
But I don't think she relinquished the power. I think she's just making it clear with him that I'm not going to go back and forth with you with your in and out. And maybe I do, maybe I don't.
But did she make it clear with him?
Double Dutch.
But did she make it clear with him, or she made it clear with the girls? And she didn't even tell him. I think she made it clear with the girls, and she didn't even really relay that to him. That she made it, that it was in herself. I'm going to take control, and
no, she said that's what I laid out. Okay. That this was what's going to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but anyway, they're looking forward to getting into everyday life, everyday rhythm with each other, and he says, I don't expect there to be a dull moment with us. So we'll see what it's like when we get back to San Diego.
And he's attracted to all this busyness. He loves the busy woman.
Yeah, 'cause she says she got a lot.
A lot.
That she does on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All righty. Everybody really is pretty short except for Ben and Morgan.
Yeah.
So, let's go to Justin and Alexis. We see them go out on a little boat, a little sailboat, just the two of them.
Just the two of them.
That's their last excursion. And while they're out there talking, you know, they're talking about them two, about going back home, you know, how it's going to be. We find out that Justin works from home. And so as a result, you know, he's willing to help out, take care of the dogs and everything, and the food and
the cat.
You know, yeah. And they talk about real quick how she makes more than him, but you know, it's not going to affect his ego because I'm you know, help you out and do what I can. And he says, but even if you make more than me, it's going into the same account. She says, is it?
She started stuttering, dog.
She said, is it? He said, well, I mean, we will have the same account, but then have separate accounts. And she was like, well, that's one thing I want to do when we get back home is talk about that and budget and get that straight.
Yeah, she about to put stuff in order, dog. And she that assertiveness is about to come out. That assertiveness about how we handle money, how we deal with money, how we deal with the whole issue. Again, I keep saying this on Married at First Sight. They need a financial expert because they got the love expert, they got the sex expert, they got the sociologist, all that. They got the pastor. They need a financial counselor to help some of these couples out. Even when we get into the Ben and Morgan situation, that become a big issue too. But they need their help. Justin has a plan, but his plan may not be Alexis's plan. But I'm glad she said, wait till we get home. You don't want to talk about that stuff on your honeymoon. Mm-hmm. You know, because you need papers, you need spreadsheets, you need to see bank statements and all that. Wait till you get home.
Mm-hmm. And so while they're having a conversation, the little boat tips over.
But hey,
the cameraman hopped off with the quickness.
Here I come to save the day. Mighty Mouse. Justin stepped up. His 6'7" frame was able to save his wife, and he was so happy. Now, mind you, the cameraman bounced quickly. Cameraman was like, gone. I don't care about none of y'all. I don't care if this boat tip over on you. You're not going to mess with this camera, and I'm gone. And he's standing in the background watching Justin be, I ain't say Captain. Captain saved my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mighty Mouse. Mighty man.
That's what he did. But he did save her. The rest of them, I want to leave it to after the couple conversation because what happened with them after that, it has to do with the couple conversation. So we'll come back to that. Let's talk about Miguel and Lindy. Mm-hmm. We see them going kayaking, having a good time, spending time with each other. You know, they're feeling each other. She's expecting that the feelings will increase more, you know, the more she gets to know him. She talks to him about wanting to share everything with him and get closer to him. But she said the conversation they had was, but I feel like when it comes to you, you know, you feel like love will come when it comes and how it flows, whatever. And she said she feels pressured to kind of fit in his boxes, and that's not very comfortable for her.
And he said, like a most traditional man would say, I don't want you to fit in my boxes. I want you to be you. Be you and do you You don't have to enjoy you. Find who you are. And I don't think she understood that though. She didn't understand him saying, "Look, I don't want you to check my boxes. You're putting that pressure on yourself. You're putting that issue on you. I don't need you to be. I need you to be true to who you are." And I think she is a true people pleaser.
Yeah, but her thing is too that they get into is this just an 8-week thing for you? Like, I came into this fully expecting to, for this to be a lifetime thing, and you're talking about it's just an 8-week thing, and I don't know how to get comfortable. I feel like if you can't decide or you got me in limbo, then I'm protecting myself. I'm going to have my walls up. I'm going to keep my guard up, and I want to let it down, but I'm like, do I let it down considering he might be gone at the end of the 8 weeks,
Yeah.
She said, I'm just looking for a life partner, and when you say that, I'm not getting that from you.
Miguel didn't help his cause any by him saying, I'm trying to wait till the 8 weeks, see what happens. Miguel reverted back to, Miguel thinks this is like, he's a doctor, right? He's a doctor, and I think he thinks this experiment is one of his experiments where you test things out and see what sticks and see if this will work and that'll work and see if this happened and that'll happen. And I think that's when Miguel is treating this like a real experiment, not knowing that you have a real person in front of you that has feelings, a person that has emotions, a person that's going to be invested in this. This is not some rat in a laboratory. You know what I'm saying? This is a real person. Even though, yes, it is an experiment, you can't treat it as such. You can't be so analytical and all this into this experiment that you're dealing with somebody who's trying to love you and you're trying to, I don't know, get the draws, dog.
It seemed that way.
And mind you, this conversation is after, I gotta go there because I think that adds to it. This conversation is after the fact that they said they had consummated their marriage. I want to stay there because I think that plays a role because his tone, to me, I don't know about anybody else, y'all let me know in the comments, it seemed like his tone has changed in a relationship after he got the draws. He's not as loving as he has been or understanding that he has been, that he's more of, I won't say he's a prick now, but he's kind of brass. I want to say that he's kind of more brass now since he actually slept with the lady, Lindy. So now he's like, oh, this is an experiment. I don't know if it could be for 8 weeks. I'm just gonna. What you mean, dog? I mean, I know it's an experiment, but you're gonna have to put yourself into it. Again, I think it's back to he thinks it's an experiment, and he's going to self-sabotage.
Yeah. So the rest of them will come back to later, and you'll see. We'll get into that. So let's go to Stosha and Nate.
Stosha and Nate.
We see where she set up an outdoor picnic for them, something a little romantic, sit out there. And only problem is they're out in the grass outside, and neither one of them like bugs, and so they kind of have a fight with the bugs.
I got a problem with people that don't like bugs. It's probably grown dudes. You are like 1,000 times bigger than this little bug, and you scared of it. What was it, a spider?
That's what he said.
It was just like a spider, and she's saving you from the spider, bruh. Step on the spider. Clap the spider in your hands.
I mean, you say that, but a spider bite can be tragic. I understand we're bigger than them, but they're poisonous and we're not. Some spiders are poisonous and we're not. I'm just saying.
Step on a spider.
You can.
It wasn't like me. I understand people that don't like animals and don't like insects. I understand that. But you be the protector. Justin saved this woman from a boat. You can save your girl from a spider. Somebody got to step up here, right? And it shouldn't be the boss came and she stepped up and she took care of the spider for her man.
She did.
She took care of the spider.
But he said he likes doing stuff like that with the TP outside and, just romantic type of stuff. She talked about a conversation they had before where she said, obviously, because of where she is in her life, it's been intimidating to some men, and they had a conversation. And he said, I'm not intimidated by you being a boss. I'm good with it. And she was like, I appreciate that you're not intimidated, because obviously I feel like that's what's kept me single for a lot of this time. She talks about how her last relationship was long distance and that they grew apart, and she went to therapy. She didn't have to. She went to therapy afterwards. She felt like that helped. And, you know, whenever I'm dating and getting involved with men, my goal is to be married. And, you know, it didn't turn out that way. And so she said, I went to therapy and it helped. Would you be willing to go to couples therapy? And he was like,
hold on. Look, his face was like, all right. And this is what his mind, I'm going to go for the male, right? And his mind was saying, if I say no, I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to have an issue. If I say no, how can I say that I really don't want to go, but I should say yes because that's what she want me to do. And we're on this honeymoon, so I'm going to say, you know what, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind going to therapy with you. And she kind of read through that because she like, do you really want to go? Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, I really want to go. He like, do you want to do, what does he say?
He asked the question, do you mean therapy like just off the bat, just to go to therapy, or when there's some imbalance? And she was like, no, I think it's healthy to go when there's nothing going on so we can get the tools we need to be productive in our marriage, not just when something's not right.
Right, to prep it. And I think that was good. I mean, when Stosha was talking, I'm like, yo, she got her big girl pants on. Like, she knows what she wants. She's articulate. She articulated very well. He can't misunderstand what she's saying. And she's giving it to him, and this is why we want to go. She's like, hey, I go to therapy. This is why I want us to go. This is what I need for us to do. Are you willing to do it? I mean, how can you say no to that? I mean, how can you question that? She's laying everything out. There's nothing left to answer. Like, but yeah, we'll go. You know? I mean, so that's, which is good. I think therapy is needed in all relationships, in all marriages. I think you need it when you marry and when you're trying to get married. I think you need it in a point in your marriage when it's been 15, 20, 30 years. I think some things changes. Life experiences changes. When your kids move out or when you have babies and things like that. So I think it's very, can be very helpful.
Mm-hmm. But he did agree that he was down for it. And she brought a question up in her vignette that came up later with some of the, when they met with the girls. She was like, I wondered how authentic he's being with me. Like, you know, is this the real him? And what Nate talks about is, you know, he's wondering what's going to happen when they get back home. He's hoping they can still continue, you know, what they've been doing, the building and growth they've been doing on the honeymoon. But in the back of her mind is still like, let me see how authentic he is. So, and like I said, that came up with...
He comes off like a salesman sometimes. He comes off like a salesman, and he comes off that he agrees to everything. Right? Think about so far, and Nate has agreed to anything. There's nothing he really bucked. Or like, by the way, nah, I don't want to do that. He agrees to everything. You can't agree to everything. And I think that's where the questions come in at, because, you know, he's not authentic. Mm-hmm. It doesn't come off authentic.
Yeah. So that's it with Stosha and Nate. Real quick, we're gonna touch on Ben and Morgan. Like we said, most of the episode was the group being all together, whether it was the girls, if it was the guys, or the couples all together. So we're gonna get to that because it was a lot there too. So we see Ben and Morgan. They go to dinner together. We saw the other couples already had their dinner on a different night. Remember, Ben and Morgan are just getting to the honeymoon, so they sit there and they have dinner together. She points out that the other couples have had more time with each other. They're a little more touchy-feely, and they understand that. Ben talks to her about the fact that he feels like he's closer to Justin, and he thinks that he's a little bit further along than he is. And he was like, you know, he already said I love you to Alexis. And, you know, they talk about, well, do you think we'll get to that point? They were like, you know, I don't know if we'll get to that point. Hopefully we will. You know, we just want to continue to grow and get to know each other some more. And
their the conversation seemed like it was forced, because there was some times where there were awkward moments, they were quiet, some awkward silence, and it's like they're sitting there thinking, what can I say next? It wasn't like it was genuine conversation. I don't know if you picked that up, but I picked that up. Like it didn't seem genuine to me. It seemed like it was kind of forced in their conversation.
They said they do like Alexis and Justin. They want to hang out with them some more. Yeah. They also talk about what's it going to be like, when we get back home, once we get back into our routine. And she was like, for me, my main thing is, I go to the gym, I do my 100% at work, and I normally chill on the weekends. And so that's what my life consists of, which she gets into some more when all the couples are together.
Yeah.
And they talked about, how do you think we're doing? And she was like, I think we're doing well. I see a lot of potential there. And Ben is like, I want us to get, not just to have pillow talk, but, a couple of times a week, even though we're back, let's have some serious, deep convos and get to know each other. And, when we have those conversations, really think about what you want to say and communicate effectively. And she said that's important to her because she's been hurt by a person's words before and them not doing what they said they would do. Which is funny because then we go from that to the next scene with them, where they're out there going boogie boarding and they sit and they have a good time. She talks about the sexual tension that they have. And so then he's reflecting on a conversation they had the night before. They had a deep conversation about her family history and how she doesn't have a relationship with her dad. And for him, family is a big thing.
Oh, big thing.
Family is a big thing, and finances is a big thing. Her mom told him that she's got a lot of student loan debt.
Yes.
And so he's like, that was a kind of a red flag to me because, I did a lot to work on my finances and, I'm financially literate and, I do good for myself. And, he's like, I'm concerned about that.
But one thing Morgan said would kind of reassure him, I'm not going to ask you to pay for none of it.
Which I was about to get.
Oh, you want to get to it? Go ahead. But,
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to ask you to pay for anything. I'm going to take care of it myself. Not 1 cent. I'm going to handle what's mine. I know I have student loan debt. Most people in America have student loan debt. I'm not saying it's right, but they've gotten into that situation. They got student loan debt. They didn't know, that you can go to college, cash flow, and all this other stuff. So, but and I think she's upset because he's kind of judging her by the fact that she has student loan and that her relationship, her family is not like his. Mm-hmm. And everybody's family is not the same. Everybody have different dynamics in his family. He has, if you look at it, he got some underlying issues in his family too because his mama run things. But that could be perceived as a boundary issue. So he's kind of overanalyzing, overthinking her situation.
Well, I don't want, let me address this real quick. I didn't get the impression that his mom run things. I got the impression that he relies on his mother for a lot. Even though his dad was quiet, I get the impression that she's a, I don't want to say it like that. She's more of a submissive. No, I'm talking about the mama.
Oh.
His mama is more of a submissive, but she said that's mom's son. So they just got that kind of relationship. The one thing I want to say, when Morgan was like, she was like, I'm not going to ask you. I don't expect you to take care. But one thing, take care of my debt. But the one thing I didn't like the way she said it, she's like, I don't want your money. I'm not going to ask you for anything. Oh. That's that independent woman coming back up, and that'll come up later with the couples because it's like the way she's talking about it. Alexis question, well, what does she need him for? She act like she don't need him.
But she already said that. I mean, look at her vignettes and everything, and she's like kind of like Stosha in a sense that she doesn't need the man, she wants the man.
But it's coming off like she don't even want him.
She said she wants him. She said there's sexual tension. She said she likes him.
Yeah.
She likes his body. She loves his personality.
Yeah, talking about that.
But she wants him. But again, the way he came off to her, remember, this is a conversation I had the night before. I have to go back to women and men. Because when a man says something and you get upset, I don't need you for nothing. I don't need you to do this. I don't need you to do that. I can do it myself. Look, that's women that do that, right? So therefore, that's where they're at. They had an argument. They had a disagreement, and she's still feeling some type of way, even though they went boogie boarding. Even though they did all this, she's still feeling some type of way. And there's some truth to that. She might really, look, I don't need you to pay a dime because I feel guilty that I got this student loan debt anyway. And I'm learning how to get out of it, so I don't need your money.
I don't get that. What I get by her saying that is more so like, how a lot of times, certain people that you might would ask for help, some people you don't, because they're gonna hold it over your head. That's the impression I got from her. It's like, I don't need nothing from you because you won't say you helped me. You won't say you did anything for me. You won't say you gave me no money. So I don't think it was, because I don't think at the time the conversation was heated. It's getting heated now because they're going back over it. Right. It doesn't sound like to me they had an argument when they first talked about it, but now it's getting a little bit heated.
Not an argument per se, but he felt some type of way because she said he made her feel bad because she had student loan debt. Mm-hmm. And he didn't have any. He made her feel bad that he knows about crypto. She doesn't have any investments or anything like that. I mean, she mentioned that when she talked to the women, that's how she felt when they was having this conversation. So when you go fast forward, when they get to the beach, I think she's still feeling that type of way. Mm-hmm. And I understand your point too, where you come from. I don't want you don't have to do nothing for me. But again, y'all are married. I'm sorry. I just go over. If you come in with debt, I don't have no debt. We're married. The two become one. So your debt become my debt. I'm gonna help you get out of debt, so we can get to where we need to be at. I don't get it.
Well, everybody don't operate like that. But his other thing was,
everybody don't operate like that. But I understand though. And for your marriage sake, I think you should operate like that.
That works for some people. For some people, it doesn't.
Well, if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't get married.
Well, no. I mean, people work it out.
I mean,
people work it out. I mean, we know a couple that like their finances aren't together. It works that way for them.
I mean, I understand that, but we talking about
that they take care of the household.
But when you're dating in this arena, and this is different because they pop up, they're married, they don't know this. And I'm sure if Ben was dating Morgan prior to this, and this popped up, he probably wouldn't have finished dating her. Right. He probably wouldn't have been with her because he wanted somebody who's debt free, and I understand that. I completely understand that. But if you're in love with somebody who does that, this is a good teaching moment for a husband and wife. This is a good opportunity for you to conquer something together. This is a good opportunity for you can do things together and be able to help and to teach, whether you're the husband or the wife. It's just a great opportunity for enhancement in your relationship. I just look at it that way.
Mm-hmm. So. His other thing though too is, I was looking for somebody to be 100% honest. I've been 100% honest for where I am and where it's at. And, they said on the surface layers, they see they got a lot in common. But again, the family thing, the finances, and the 100% honesty is not lining up. And so then we get into the fact that she shared with him that
dropped the bomb on me.
She lied on her application. She doesn't have her bachelor's. She's actually got one more class left. And she shares that with him and asked him not to say anything. And so he was like, well, let me add this. She says, I've been a nurse for a while. The Bachelor of Science in Nursing, the BSN, is just to advance my career, to get, and bump up my pay or whatever. But he says that, he was still kind of up in the air about that, like there was a dishonesty. So he talked to Justin about it and, just to kind of talk about it. And Justin ended up talking to his wife. And so it's a whole big thing.
Alexis and them going to tell Morgan.
No. Ben is telling Morgan.
Yeah, Ben is telling Morgan.
Ben is telling Morgan at this point. And so that goes into a whole other thing. I asked you not to share anything. I asked you to keep it in confidence. And you went and told somebody. And he was like, I was still just, kind of confused about it because you weren't honest on your application. What else? He didn't say this, but underneath that, it's like, what else are you dishonest about? I didn't know what to do with it. Do I tell somebody? What do I say to her? And she was like,
Mind she's one credit away.
I apologize. She's one credit away. I apologize for lying. So I thought she was better with it. And he was like, I just didn't know what to do with that information. And she was like, you broke my trust. And I don't know if I could trust you again. She said before, that's a big thing for her. Words are big to her. And so now, you've crossed that line because we said that we keep this private and, we talk about it later. And so it's just a chain. It became a chain effect where she didn't tell the truth. She shared it with him. asked him to keep it in confidence. He didn't. And so now they're trying to get to the point where they can, they have to rebuild trust. And she was like, I'm pissed.
Yeah, she should, and rightfully so. She should be, man. We had this discussion. If you tell me not to tell nobody, I'm not telling nobody. And I think when you tell your spouse not to tell anybody, that means don't tell anybody.
But this is what I said to my husband. Yes, they're spouses. Yes, they're married. And yes, she asked him not to tell anything. But I put it to him like this. They are stranger spouses. I don't know you that well. I really don't owe you not to say anything. It's not like he broadcasted it. He talked to somebody in confidence about it. But it's the other thing that I thought about when we were downstairs. I said, for me, like, when they just met each other, I'm not putting that much confidence in somebody I just met. I'm not never going to meet somebody and in a couple of days tell them something that I expect them to keep it confident. That's silly to me. That's spouse or not. For me, in Married at First Sight, if it's somebody on your job, if it's somebody, at church, if I've only known you a few days, I'm not going to put that much responsibility on you. I'm not going to put that much credit into you that I'm going to say, I got to tell you something, but don't tell nobody. But I don't know you enough to know if I could trust you not to tell it just because I told you not to.
They was having an intimate moment.
I understand that.
And she trusted the issue. So again, if you tell me 2 days, 3 days, 2 and 20 years, 25 years, if you say, look, I need you not to say anything.
But that's what I'm saying. For me, I'm not going to tell somebody I just met. I'm not putting enough credibility in this person 2, 3, 4, 5 days in to say, if I tell you something, don't tell nobody. I don't even know you well enough to know if you can keep a secret.
I give you that. But she was banking on, this is my husband. We're having a moment. Let me tell him. Let me be honest and truthful in this situation here. Let me get it off my chest. Let me go ahead and say. Must have been eating her up on the inside, so she went on and said it. To me, she should have kept that crap to herself.
Absolutely. And she should not have trusted him to keep it to himself.
But when she did release it to him, he should have had it enough to say, you know what? Like he said, he admitted later, he should have said not say anything to Justin and went back to her and be like, you know what? I'm struggling with what you told me.
But I think
I'm having an issue with what you told me, and I feel my morality, my integrity, my character is eating me up on the inside.
But sometimes it's hard to go back and the person that I'm having to struggle with, the issue with, it's hard to go to them and say, what do I do with this? So sometimes you go talk to somebody because like, I don't know what to do with this. How should I approach her to talk about it? I can't approach you and ask you, how do I approach you with this? I'm still upset.
But you can't ask them like, yo, I'm dealing with this. How do I come to you about the issue that we talked about? Because you're new, so you got to learn each other. So now I'm coming to you saying, hey, how do I come to you with this problem I have? Or is it okay? Like he said, he fixed it up. Is it okay? I'm struggling with what you said. Is it okay I talk to Justin?
Or that too. Because, again, with the scenario I said, for Ben, you don't know Justin well enough to expect him not to say nothing.
Right.
Everybody putting too much credence in each other.
But
Y'all do not know each other.
That's why I go to my point.
Well.
When you tell me a secret, I don't tell nobody. Because I don't trust anybody like that.
But I'm like...
I learned early in life, a friend always have a friend.
Again, bruh, we ain't gonna spend all this whole time. We ain't friends. They're not friends.
Ben says him and Justin are real close friends.
No. I'm from the jump. I'm talking about Ben and Morgan. But I'm gonna say Justin and Ben too. But still, I don't know. But same time, man. Same time. I don't know you, man. I don't know you. I am not. And maybe that's the me in me. That's the Capricorn in me. That's the whatever else you want to call it. Bro, I am not trusting nobody I just met a couple days ago to keep a secret from me. Now, somebody I expect you to keep, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. I think y'all putting too much onus on these people.
Hey, y'all, let us know in the comment section below. I already have a poll up in our community asking this very question. So, you know, if your spouse tells you not to say anything, do you say anything?
If your 3-day married at first sight spouse, not your spouse that you dated in college and you already knew them before you got married, y'all been engaged for a year before you got married. No. Your 3-day married to at first sight spouse.
I've had co-workers who come to me and I don't know them and be like, hey, I'm going to tell you something, but don't say nothing.
And I'll be like, you's a dummy. You don't know if I would blabbermouth. You don't know me enough to know if you don't know me enough to know nothing.
And it's not about snitching either, fellas, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
it's not about a snitching issue, but it's
I'm
about
just saying.
Some people who confide in you and be like, hey, I need you to do.
Bro, I'm just not doing it.
All right, we good.
I'm not doing it. But the other thing is that, you know, when it comes to this, that a lot of people talk about is like, bro, is it that serious? It's a trust thing, but at the same time, is the thing that he told that serious? Like, you're one class away from finishing with your bachelor's, and you didn't tell the truth on your application. Was it serious enough for her to get that mad?
Yes, because she got now.
Maybe for her.
Now fear creeped in. Oh, I may get kicked off the show. I mean, I don't think they kick you off for that try, because I'm sure Matt done lied about some stuff too.
I'm about to say we had two people lie about they had somewhere to live. There go Christine is living out her car. She said she had some place to live.
Actually, we have Michael lie about his job. So I mean, you know, Michael lied about a couple jobs.
So
the only person that got 5 interviews on their honeymoon.
And the thing about it is, chick, why lie? Just put on there. It asks you for your highest level degree. All you had to do is say
associate's degree.
I have my associate's degree, which that's what we find out. She is a nurse, and we talked about this too because I'm a nurse. You can be a nurse that graduate from like a hospital-based program where you don't even get your associates, and you can be a nurse. You can get your associates, and you can go for your NCLEX, and you can be a nurse. And by nurse, I'm saying an RN. Because, for the record, a CNA is a nurse's assistant. Just saying. I'm going to put that out there. Just a side note.
So you just want to put your credentials out there?
I didn't say. I didn't put it all out there. Now, I can if you want me to. But anyway, no.
I thought you put your credentials out there.
No. So you can be a nurse graduating from a hospital-based program. You could be a nurse with an associate's, and then you could be a nurse with your bachelor's or even your master's. So she said, I've been a nurse for some time, and she's got an associate's. But a lot of facilities, hospitals now, they want their RNs to be degreed with a bachelor's degree. So I've even worked with some people that were old school nurses that they just had like a diploma, you know, like a certificate or whatever. And the hospital's like, we want all our nurses to be degreed to get your bachelor's. And they were like, I'm too old to go back to school. So they didn't.
They didn't go back to school?
So they didn't. And they went somewhere else. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so she should have just been honest on the application in the first place. I'm an RN. My highest degree is associates. I'm in school right now. You could write all that in there. It didn't have a character limit. You writing it.
Right.
I'm one class away from my bachelor's.
Tighten it and explain.
Boom.
She could have explained it. But
boom.
It's about the trust. But we'll get deeper into that.
But anyway, okay.
Separate video coming.
Okay, no. I'm done with that.
I'm talking about my point.
You see, y'all, I'm not going to say that. He be doing videos without me. And y'all be watching them. Y'all some traitors. But anyway. We see all the ladies meet all together on the beach the guys meet. They go to have tequila tasting, which I think is hilarious because Justin makes the point that I think he drank one, but the rest he threw over his shoulder like the guy his shirt wet because he was like, this is the thing. They are drinking tequila in the morning. And he was like, I ain't even had no breakfast.
I ain't gonna be lit.
I'm not trying to get pissy drunk.
Or sick.
In the morning. So, and Alexis kind of says, I'm kind of jealous y'all going to do tequila testing, and what if I want to go? But anyway, so when they meet together, they each have conversations. Alexis says, she talks about, well, let me go to the guys, because it starts with the guys. Again, we've seen this before. They're kind of having the same conversation in different places. Justin says, they ask how's everybody doing? Justin says, we're doing a lot of kissing and touching, but there's no sex yet. We are walking around each other naked. She respects my celibacy. And Nate's like, okay, but bro, you're married. Like, why are you trying to maintain your celibacy?
Like, bro, it's okay though. Like, it's okay that it's okay for you to.
Yeah, you even said you love her, so what you waiting for? And he was like, but I'm waiting for it to happen. Like, I don't want it to be forced. I don't want it to be just because we're married. I feel like we have to have sex. No, I want to feel like we're in that space.
Yeah.
And Nate says in his vignette, I think that Justin is not forcing it or going there because he's gonna get whipped. He know once he get the draws, cause he all sensitive anyway, then he gonna be all.
Yeah, he might be.
He gonna, like ladies get dematized. He gonna get pematized.
Pematized. Yeah, let's keep it PG.
And so that's why he's going slow. And Justin pointed out that he likes the fact that she recognized my sensitivity and she embraces it, like she doesn't use it against me. And so on the flip side, when the girls are having their conversation, Alexis is saying it's hard because Justin is sensitive. And she has to do something that's out of her comfort zone. I have to consider his feelings where I normally wouldn't. Well, I don't even like the way you nodded your head like that.
Because I can relate to this.
Exactly. I don't even like the way you nodded your head.
I can relate to this. I'm saying I have to relate to this. You got to relate to the other person's feelings. And it's sometimes a difficult thing to do. But she mastered it in about 5 days. Maybe because there's a woman trying to relate to a man's feelings. Because sometimes when a man tries to relate to a woman's feelings, it becomes difficult. And I understand the process. You have to think things through. Make sure you get your wording right. Make sure you say it in the correct manner. Make sure you get your tone down. And make sure your tone is right. And before you say it. Because sometimes you deal with people who are sensitive. So, I'm better.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying me, but I'm just saying I understand what you're saying.
No. You said I'm getting better.
I understand.
And you said dealing with people that's sensitive. Are you trying to say I'm sensitive? I'm a woman. Okay? I should be sensitive.
I understand that.
I should be soft.
Yes. You are soft. And I love your softness.
You see, you be really trying to throw me under the bus. I don't appreciate it.
I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm just talking about me. I understand where Alexis is coming from. What I said was...
But I ain't no man.
I understand, but it doesn't matter if you're... I know you're not a man. We have 3 kids. So we good there. I know you're not a man. But what I'm saying is, I understand for somebody who's on the hard side, having to think and make sure you don't hurt the other person's feelings because you love them so much and you care for them so much, you want to think things through before you say it. That's all I'm saying. I understand. I understand when she made that comment. I totally understand where she's coming from. So let's keep it moving.
So Morgan says she can relate because Ben and Justin are very similar. He's sensitive too. But then she talks about how he's touchy behind closed doors. And, she's like, oh, he's hot. And we'll probably, do something soon. And so on the flip side, Ben shares with the guys, we're doing a lot more cuddling. But it's just cuddling, but we're getting more comfortable with each other. We've had less time together, basically, than the two of
Yeah,
y'all.
two of them, yeah.
Then we see Lindy and Miguel both share with the groups that they have, as Miguel said, made love. They was like, oh, you made love.
Man, he manipulated
You didn't
that.
have sex.
He manipulated that girl to having sex, and she's a people pleaser. That's my feeling. He manipulated her and wooed her. He tried everything else from the last episode with the massages on the back, all this, and she says it's consensual. I mean, and of course it's consensual, but I think he kind of pushed the issue, and now she's doing it just to she did it just to please him. And I think her and Stosha and them talk about that a little bit later. But I think that's, you see it all the time. She's covering for him. She makes excuses for him. That's not a good relationship. She's making excuses for him already. And that's what she is. That's who she has been. So, and I don't want to call it because of her religion, because I don't want to go there.
Oh, I'm about to go there with what he said, though.
Yeah.
But Lindy says, things have progressed in different ways. They're doing, and then she says, we're doing what married couples do, and everybody knows that means, we're having sex. She said, I didn't think I'd be the first one to consummate, but it was natural, and there was no pressure. Like my husband said, like, yeah, okay, there was pressure. I mean, it was all that subliminal.
And somebody talk about it every day. Every day. Every day.
And how it's going to bring us together.
Every day.
And, it helps us bond more. And, yeah.
But she says it, too, when they talk, go back to when they talked after the boat, after they did the canoeing. She called him a pervert. And he didn't say, oh, no, I'm not a pervert. So his behavior and the things that he said and done was pervert, it was just perverish. And I just made up a word. It was pervert behavior.
What he said was, we made love. It was more passionate than I thought it would be. It was perfect. It felt like the universe was coming together. It was holy and it was special. And I was like, here he go again
being sacrilegious.
With these sacrilegious comments. Like, I just felt like he was being so sarcastic.
Very sarcastic.
Talking about it, and I just really didn't appreciate it. But, yeah. So Stosha shares that, her and Nate haven't done anything, but, they did bathe together, and, they found more other intimate ways to build up and get to that manner. Nate shares with the guys, we've been vibing all the time, but there's no sex yet. I want to respect my wife, and I know that having sex early complicates it, so I want to wait. And Miguel says, but why is it complicated? I was like, oh my gosh, really? And you're gonna make Nate explain it. He said it's because it's complicates it because when you get into it before you have a understanding and familiarity with each other, then that's just your focus is just sex, and you don't get to know each other because you're so caught up in the sex thing.
True.
And Miguel's like, I'm not buying it. I think he's lying. And no, you ain't got to. I really do think Nate grasped that. That doesn't mean he doesn't want it.
Right. But it goes back, and Married at First Sight didn't help any because they showed the clips of Nate with the stripper. and the whipped cream and all that stuff, saying he's very hypersexual. And we know Elijah one was like that. But again, Elijah one and Katina said they didn't have sex until after the fact.
That's what they said. So when it comes to the guys, Mitch really didn't share anything. He interjected here and there on what they said. But Kristen, when the girls came together in the first place, she was like, let's get the tea. Let's figure out what's going on. Matter of fact, it's funny. Nate said, spill the tea too. Like he wanted the tea. But so now they're back to Kristen. Like, okay, so what's going on? She was like, child, let me tell you what. Let me tell you how it went down. And she was like, it's going. I can't say it's going extremely well. I really want to stick to the positive. I want to share with y'all. I want y'all to be Team Mitch. Okay? When I tell you this, I'm just sharing with you because, sharing amongst the girls. I want you to be Team Mitch. It's not here to demonize him, to throw him under the bus. It's not none of that. So I'm saying that before I tell you what happened. The Joker jumped on me. He pounced on me. He pounced on me. 1 minute, he shared that there was no physical attraction there. But then he gets these drinks in him. And we go to the room. And he pounced on me. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And, he's like, what in the world? And he says, with these drinks and everything I got in me. And then, you know, I was really impressed with how you carried yourself when I told you I wasn't attracted to you. That made me get attracted to you.
He likes a stern woman. He likes a school. I don't know, a stern woman. We got mommy issues. Whatever.
No, it wasn't that she was stern. It was that she took a licking and she kept on ticking. Yeah, she was tough. Like, okay, that's what you said.
She got herself together. She was tough. She's tough in this thing.
And so he went from not being attracted to her to attracted to her with some of that liquid courage, that alcohol,
that tequila, man.
In him. And so she was like, you know, she said she had to stop and be like, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm making the rules from now on. Mm-hmm. It ain't going down like that. You're not going to be on and off. Right. And then I'm supposed to just flip-flop with you. Look, nope. Just because you drunk, we're not going to do that.
Not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that. So she said, I'm going to be the one to set the rules of engagement. This is how it's going to be. And basically, he going to play along.
Play along and get along.
Yep. So then we see Alexis and Kristen meet up after they had a conversation. Yeah. Just like Ben feels with Justin, Kristen is feeling that with Alexis. Like, I could talk to you. She's a sounding board or whatever. And she's like, you know, I appreciate you. You know, the strong woman that you are. And Alexis was like, me strong. You strong. You strong. Like, you sat there and listened to him tell you.
Yeah,
so
you put up with Mitch. Like, you put up with Mitch. You stronger than me. You got me on this one.
So they just both came to consensus that they're both strong. But Kristen shares that she's got a concern that Mitch hasn't been in a serious committed relationship, you know, and in a while. And Alexis is like, so it's got you thinking, well, is he going to be committed here? Mm-hmm. And she encouraged her. She was like, yes, that might be his history, but give him a chance to start from here. Count the small things that he does, the small movements that he's making, you know, and
Alexis was giving some good advice.
Yeah.
Okay, do you take your own advice?
Right. She was like, you know, I'm trying to be Team Mitch. I'm be a proponent for him. And Kristen was like, you know, his actions say that he wants me, even to the point where they were together. He talked about a future together.
Yes.
You know, and she was like, you know, how long can I walk on eggshells and play this close to the edge like that? And Alexis is like, you know, you're going to have to figure that out. I can't tell you how long or what to do. You're going to have to figure that out. And Kristen's going to have a serious conversation with Kristen. And
that's what I say. She's going to have the conversation deeper inside of herself. But like, okay, I need to go talk to Mitch. You pulled me aside and had this conversation with me. I mulled over this thing about a day or two. Let me tell you what's what. Mm-hmm. And let me handle this situation.
And Alexis used, for example, when she said, you know, take steps at a time and don't try to ruin it for yourself. She was like, you know, I think about how I could have been with Justin 6 months ago, but when I seen him on Hinge, I was like, up too tall, too skinny. Not really the look that I'm going for. And so I skipped past him. She said, but, you know, I got in my own way, but now I have a chance to try it all over again and someone trying to do it different. You know, I could have missed out this time if I was focused on what happened before and how I was feeling before. And she was like, give Mitch time to come to his senses and, you know, just bear with him. It's going to take some time, but bear with him.
I mean, I like Alexis. I like this side of Alexis being the softer side. The side was giving advice to a girl, her friends, and maybe, of course, production probably set it up. But again, she was dealing with absolutes and giving some great advice. Like, she's been through a lot of this stuff. So, hey, girl, I got you. I'm going to hook you up. And be a good friend. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Then we see Ben and Justin meet up to play basketball. And he shared with Justin that Morgan's upset with him because of the whole conversation with the bachelors, and he told her secret, and they're in a tough spot because, you know, she doesn't trust him, and now he's gonna have to prove himself. And he was like, he agreed. You know, he overreacted. I don't know if I would say he overreacted. He did not do what she asked him to. So if that's an overreaction, sure. But I think it's natural to be like, You lied about something silly as simple as that.
Yeah, but the overreaction is that he told somebody else. The overreaction is that the other people know. The overreaction is that, you know what I'm saying?
No, the overreaction is that he was so like
Gone
thrown off
Yeah.
by what she said. And that's what he's saying, you know, I overreacted with that. You know, I didn't have to tell anybody, but anyway.
You didn't.
And so, you know, Ben's thing in talking to Justin is, you know, I don't want to just have surface level with her. I want to have these deep conversations, and I want to build back trust, and so I'm going to work towards doing that. And he says, you know, I want to have more honest conversations. You know, it's the small wins and rebuilding trust, and Justin just encouraged him to, you know, express yourself. Make sure you put your feelings first, he said, you know, because I didn't always do that in my relationships.
Yeah.
And it didn't always work for me. And so, you know, you have to take ownership of rebuilding y'all's relationship and, you know, starting from ground zero again.
And Ben beat Morgan in basketball. Which I do. Dog, you 6'7".
You know, you mean Justin.
Justin, sorry. Ben beat Justin in basketball. You like 6'7", dog. Just throw your hand up. Block everything. Just block everything and dunk.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But they you can tell that they got a great bond with each other. Because even when Ben was like, yo, when we get back to San Diego, let's play, let's make this a routine, let's do this every day, let's have conversations. And he's looking up to Justin for advice. And I think that's great too, to have somebody else you can bounce off.
Mm-hmm. So about the same time, we see that Morgan, Stosha, and Lindy meet up and they have a little conversation or whatever. And Morgan shares part of the issue that she's having with Ben, and the fact that, you know, the fact that she's got strained family relationships and the student loan debt. It wasn't something that Ben was expecting.
Yes.
You know, and it kind of threw him off, and, you know, and the other girls like, oh, okay, that's what the issue is. It's not, but that is part of it.
Part of it. They never tell the whole story.
No.
Never tell the whole story.
She ain't gonna tell that part because she didn't want nobody to know.
She didn't want nobody up somebody up in their business.
But she said, you know, in coming into this, I wanted somebody that was gonna be proud of me, you know, and I wish that he didn't come in with expectations that I'm not meeting, and he's getting hung up on the fact that I'm not meeting her expectations. And, you know, she shares that they had a break in the trust, and so it's hard for her to rebuild. And Stasha's like, but you gotta fight. She's like, no, I'm gonna fight. I'm a fighter, you know, but I just feel like hurt because he expected a perfect person, and I'm not that.
I'm not that.
And
the same one.
And I don't think he expected a perfect person. It was just certain things that he specifically asked for, like we see lots of times in Married at First Sight history. You're not gonna always get what you ask for.
You're not gonna get what you ask, man. People gotta come on here. You're not gonna get what you ask for. It's 560 some questions on this questionnaire. You lay all this stuff down. You're not gonna get what you asked for. They're doing it off of her personality, all the tests that people that had taken prior to this point, the answer to the questions. The likelihood that you get somebody is a perfect person, not gonna happen. We're not perfect people.
Lindy shares that, you know, I think you need to manage your expectations. What Ben needs to manage his expectations. She does too, but you need to manage. He needs to manage his expectations, and, you know, be patient, and that Morgan needs to be at a point where she feels seen and she feels heard and she feels accepted. And so they're going to have to work on that and get that together.
Yes.
And so as they're talking, Stasha's like, you know, well, speaking of which, I wanted to talk to you. I'm kind of confused because you went from wanting to get a bond before you had sex to now y'all had sex. Like, where did that come from?
Hey, I take my hat off to Stosha and Alexis in this episode, because they were doing what sisters do. They were looking out for their little sister, and Lindy per se. They were looking out for her, making sure her best interest. And you can see how close the women are, and that they're trying to protect each other and take care of each other. And I like this from Stosha, and when we get to, you know, and what Alexis did as well. So I like them being protective, but you got to be able to keep that boundary. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be able to cross over into a realm that you're not supposed to cross over into.
And so, you know, Lindy was like, you know, I did feel that way, but I want you to know we did get to a place where we're more comfortable, and the sex wasn't forced at all, you know. And Stosha was like, I was concerned. I didn't want you to be pressured too soon, because I've been in a place where I felt like I had to have sex with somebody to basically prove my love and prove where I was with them. And she was like, I just did not want you to be in that space.
You don't have to say a word. It's written all over her face.
Yeah, but Lindy says, you know, I grew up in a space, and she talked about this before, of course, with the Seventh-day Adventist. I grew up in a place where there was so much shame and judgment associated with sex. Like, I don't want to be in that space again. So I want you to know that I agreed it was consensual. You know, I went with it. It wasn't forced, okay? This is not what that is.
But he manipulated. It wasn't forced, but he set the atmosphere and made it in her mind with subliminal stuff. So we'll get past that. Yeah.
And so Lindy says, well, why are you talking about my husband? Let me tell you what my husband said about yours. Because Miguel is questioning Nate's authenticity. You know, his answers seem curated. You know, she was like, it's been times where I didn't even know where my phone was. That wasn't my focus. I ain't talked to nobody. And it's like, we out here doing stuff, and Nate is always on his phone, always taking pictures, always doing video. Got his up, you know, and she was like, you know, like, have you questioned, you know, his authenticity? And Stasha's like, you know, I have. But I'm going to find out what his true intentions are. Like, basically, sis, don't worry about it. Inspector Gadget is on it.
I got this. Make sure you like, yo, I got this. You can first of all, she like, thank you. I appreciate it. But I think it also gave Stasha to say, you know what, I ain't crazy. I ain't the only one who sees this.
Right.
Sometimes when you're the only one that can see something, sometimes you're like, oh, it's just nothing. You chalk it up to being nothing. But when other people see what you see or what you think you see, there's some truth to that. And I think in this situation, there's some truth to what she's saying about Nate in this situation.
So after that, the couples go out to dinner again on the last night, and Lindy basically, while they're talking, she puts Miguel on blast about the 8-week thing.
Yes.
And Nate's like, hey, wait, hold on. I think this is a sit-down conversation. We just sit down and talk. Because her thing is like, again, she said, if it's just the 8-week thing for him, I don't know what to do. I don't feel like you should do that. You know, would it be bad to feel like, you know, he's falling in love with the other person and they're not so much falling in love with you? Like, I don't want to be in that predicament. And they talk about that, and, you know, they understand where Lindy is coming from.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, we understand where Miguel's coming from. It's like, I can't be completely in. It's going to take these 8 weeks to figure out what's what. And even at the end of 8 weeks,
I don't know.
I still don't know. So.
And at the end of 8 weeks, I mean, to me, again, I said it earlier in the video, he changed once he got the goodies. Right? Now he doesn't have to work as hard. Now it could be in 8 weeks or maybe after 8 weeks. He has to be able to embrace her culture, her work ethic. He's gonna, when he get back into when they get back to San Diego, he's gonna have to really embrace her and understand what's going on. Because if he doesn't embrace her and make sure she looks like she could be a person that falls into depression, have anxiety issues, and that she has a confidence issue about herself because she is a people pleaser. She wants her husband to please her. So yeah, and plus she's out of control. He's controlling everything here. He's moving the pieces to get what he wants from her. Because Stasha said it too, like, oh, but a few minutes ago you said something else, or the conversation changed when he's in charge. So
yeah. Then they all talk about, you know, what it's gonna be back when we get back to regular life. You know, Nate's concerned that, you know, we might revert back to, you know, all work mode. That Stasha might revert back to all work mode.
Yeah.
And but she offered me to move into the house that she's fixing up for herself, and I'm agreeable with that. And of course you are.
Bro, happy about that. He said, I'm moving into a house. Even if you look at what's his name? Mitch. Mitch was, when he said it, Mitch was looking at him like, oh, bro, I got to come up.
Yeah, it was like,
they were looking at him like, oh, bro, I got to come up. He got to do nothing. He got to get a house. Oh, okay, bro, good. You know.
Yeah, but Kristen said the same thing with her too. You know, she's like, I have a lot of business in my life, and you know, the honeymoon's been overwhelming, but I'm looking forward to getting back into the routine. And Mitch is like, you know, I think it can handle it. We just gotta find time to connect. Morgan is worried about her work schedule. She says she's not been a nurse through the pandemic, and so I've been having to come home by myself to decompress because it's a lot. And so I need somebody to take care of me, because when I come home, I ain't trying to take care of nobody. Listen, this the truth.
It's about her.
But I can relate. As a nurse, after you've been nursing people all day, sometimes you want to come home and have somebody nurse you and take care of you. I don't want to be putting on no Band-Aids and bandaging no wounds and putting no ice on. Like I did that all day. But I can imagine, it's even more stressful for her, during this pandemic. But while she's talking, Alexis is like, well, how does Ben fit into this?
Yes.
Because you're talking a lot about you. And
what you want and what you need and what everything. He's catering to you, but you're not meeting his need. And look, be honest, and this is not our relationship, just people I've talked to. A lot of people fall into that trap of catering just to one spouse where they never get anything for themselves. And when you fall into that situation, that's a hard place to be, because then resentment to come in, depression to come in, jealousy to come in. We saw that a little bit last season with knowing Steve. The jealousy that came in because Steve was able to maneuver in places and arenas that she wasn't able to maneuver in.
So we see Alexis and Justin doing a lot of talking under their breath while she's talking about this, like, okay, but what about him? And then they actually bring that up. It's like, you have to open up. Ben asks ask her, with that communication, like, you need somebody to ground you. Like, how do I fit into your world? How can we make this work out? And Morgan says she has to let a man in. Yeah. Because she's been so independent for so long. I have to learn how to let a man in.
And it's difficult.
It is. And Justin's like, you need to be more vulnerable. And Miguel said, understand that he has needs. And Morgan says, yeah, I know I need to learn how to reciprocate feelings. And yes, you do. Yeah,
you do. You do.
AJ and AJ. A and J. Alexis and Justin talk on the side. That, it's like she wants the companionship on her terms. She's going to have to figure out how to put him in. She's busy. Alexis says for her, same thing for me. I'm busy. I got a stressful job, whatever. Right. And
what did she say she was?
She's I can't say it right.
Look,
a logistician.
Logistician.
Logistician. And
nobody at the table knew what that was.
No, Miguel was like, "What do you do again?" And so in that, Miguel pointed out, it sounds like Justin's doing a lot for you. What you doing for him? Why you talking about somebody else? What you doing for him?
And she was able to break down what she does. I mean, emotional needs, and I take care of him. I'll do whatever he needs me to do. And just basically, I will meet his needs. Don't worry about that. He's going to take care of the home while I'm at work, because he works from home. He's going to manage some things, but I'm going to meet his needs. You definitely don't have to worry about that. And basically what she said, she's like, I'm going to meet whatever Justin needs. I'm going to cater to him.
And then she said, I love this man. And they try to get on. Wait, what? What'd you say? You love him?
I love him.
And she was like, I'm not going back to that. She did. They was like, the one thing I noticed in that conversation, and it might have been just a camera, a camera trick of the production. But when she was talking about that, like, Kristen and Mitch and Ben and Morgan, because they're not a good space, they look kind of uncomfortable when she was talking about it.
Oh, yeah. You could tell the tension. Even when Ben and Morgan came down the steps, they wasn't holding hands. They wasn't together. You could tell that there was still tension and friction there. And Stosha said that on the after party, that she could tell that there was some friction there.
Stosha kind of tries to go in. They had continue that conversation about the 8 weeks. And Lindy says, well, I understand, because I kind of gave myself an out, with the 8 weeks if it doesn't work out or whatever. And Alexis says, you're saying that now, but earlier you said you had a problem with it. Now you're saying you don't have a problem with it.
And you're doing what Miguel tell you to do, and this is how you feeling.
Right.
You flip it, and she's flipping. It's not like she flipped the next day. She's flipping in the midst of the same day, in the midst of the conversation, in the midst of the I don't want to say lecture, but in the midst of the meeting of minds. And
Lindy's like, no, it's just that, I'm going to meet Miguel where he's at, and I understand where he's coming from and whatever. And Justin says, I feel like she's just trying to accommodate,
anything
and agreeing based on what he says.
Anything for her man. Mm-hmm. Look at her track record or what we heard about her. What she said is anything for her man. Mm-hmm. She'll do anything for her man.
And just as Stosha's about to sick him, she about to go in
Get him, dog.
on Miguel about the whole thing. The mariachi band comes in. Hence the name of the episode, Saved by the Mariachis. She was about to go in, but while the band comes, and since Stasha stopped, Lindy's like, don't worry about it. I got you. No worries. We're going to go at our own pace. And she even tells him that later when they get in the room together. We're going to do our own thing. We're going to do what works best for us. I'm not worried about that. Let's just focus on us. We're still trying to understand each other. It's about us and not the other couples. And I'm just eager to find out how we work together, whatever. And
she's doing a lot of encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't say a word. He didn't say nothing. Because I don't think Miguel wants to come after the people at that table.
Mm-mm.
He wants to keep it status quo because they came for his neck. Because remember, by the time they was able to go, people had already gotten other folks. And he said it, I think he told Stasha, you coming after me?
Mm-hmm.
You coming after me? And she was like, yeah, why not?
She was coming for that neck.
She coming for that neck. You had something to say about everybody else, but I'm coming for you. So
she was coming for that neck. The only other thing with them, I'll go back to after the dinner. And I think I said this before. Alexis and Justin talked, and
yes.
Alexis' concern is, I understand you feel for Ben and where him and Morgan are, but you can't take up the fight for him. It's like
that's your boy, but you can't do it.
Stop trying to save everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Justin started crying because he was like, Ben wants it to work as much as I do. He's in the same place as I'm, and I don't want him to get hurt. And Alexa's like, but you can't hurt for him. And I know it's hard to be selfish because you're so selfless, but in this, worry about yourself.
And not only yourself, translation, worry about your marriage.
And keep your heart protected.
Keep your heart protected. And so what happens, sometimes you can be worried about other people because they're your friend and mess their marriage up worse than what it is, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're fighting your marriage because you're never home because you're concerned about Johnny. You're concerned about somebody else's marriage, right? Mm-hmm. And so what he has to realize is that, he could be your friend, give your friend advice, but work on us. Take care of us. Let us be who we are.
Uh-huh. And then the last thing is when they talked about after the dinner regrouping again, Lindy and Miguel are talking, and she starts going off on one of her tangents. Mm-hmm. While we're gonna be moving in together, another adventure begins. Is there any concerns that you have? And Miguel's like, well, I don't have any concerns. And Lindy is like, my concern is that you could have a problem with how flexible my job is, because I told you I work these many days, and I work hard them days so I can have days off. And so, I spend my free time how I want to spend my free time. I spend my money how I want to spend it. And I'm afraid that you're going to be working so hard that you're going to be like almost jealous and envious of what I'm doing. And I don't want you to restrain me or whatever. Yeah. And she was like, I'm worried about that. And he was like, hey, look, calm down. Too many hypotheticals. You're worrying yourself about hypotheticals.
He went down a rabbit hole because I'm going to open this door and see this. I'm going to open the door this way. I'm going to open it this way. Yeah. When you get too many hypotheticals in situations, in relationships, the hypotheticals need to go out the window. In relationships, you need to deal with reality. Because guess what? In marriages, we're going to mess up. We may say something wrong. But that's a learning moment. You know what I'm saying? That's a learning behavior. You got to learn that to adjust. Last time I said that this way, it didn't work out. So let me clarify myself. Or one of those things, or marriage or situation, I don't know what's going on. How do I fix it? You gotta be able to ask. You gotta be able to adjust and adapt in marriages. There's no blueprint for this thing.
No.
There's no blueprint. There's gonna be some good days, there's gonna be some bad days, there's gonna be some things you do understand, don't understand. Your partner's gonna have some quirks. I think Stosha and Alexis have their head, and even Kristen have their head on right. Mm-hmm. When they speak, they know what they want, they know how to maneuver in it, and they're not gonna let things like this deter them. And that's what I think I've seen from the women from this season so far. Even Morgan has her head on right. I think the only one that I question is Lindy.
That poor Lindy.
Is Lindy strong enough to tell Miguel no? But the other girls seem like they're circling around her to help her build her confidence up and her ability to move on. Mm-hmm. And not saying she's not smart. She's smart, but again, she has the ability to do much more.
Yep. So that's it.
That's it. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification. Oh man, there's a lot to talk about. Tell us about what your thoughts on Miguel and Lindy. Did he kind of force her into the sexual activity part? Let us know about Nate and Stosha. Does Nate have good intentions with Stosha? Right? Let us know what you think about Mitch and Kristen. When Mitch try to prowl on her, did she do a good job? Pounce, prowl. He was prowling first before he pounced. And then let us know about Lindy and Miguel. So, hey, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. We thank you for joining us. Just make sure you check out our other videos as well. Hey, that's all we got for you.
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.